What's up, everybody? It's been a while since I put up a regular old video here on the YouTube channel, but I thought I'd just take you on a little tour of what's going on and some of the upgrades that I've been working on here. Some of you have been asking for this, so here we go. So before we go into the house, I figured I'd take you on a tour of the new car. It's a little dirty. Yesterday I went to the car wash, and not even 4 minutes after getting out of the car wash, I was driving down a road where a construction crew was throwing a bunch of crap on the road. And then right after that, another construction crew at another site had decided to throw a bunch of dirt and dust up in the air that I had to drive through. And as a result, when I got home, the car was dirtier than it was when I left the house. But you can see it's not bad. It's got leather seats, you know, I keep finding things that I don't like about it every time I drive it, or every day since I've had it. But I got this car for $3,800. What do you expect? Do you expect it to be a brand new car? No, I don't. So it is what it is, and it's been getting me around. It's been pretty good so far. Got my kit, my car kit, roadside emergency kit that I was talking about in the live streams, all tied in with bungee cords so it doesn't fly around in this giant trunk. And it's all good. You can see I put a little mailbox there by the front door so that if a neighbor of mine grabs the mail, they can just drop it in my box instead of having to put it in the crack of the door. You can see my little bug zapper there. Got little things that I'm doing to keep the pests at bay. That thing does a really good job at night, attracting the bugs and zapping them, doing the deed. And those little red things there do a good job grabbing fruit flies. And over time, I will be doing more things, adding more plants that you can see right there. You can see that sometimes the Venus flytrap likes to grab a bug or two out of the air. Anything to keep them from bothering me is just fine. So let's see. As I have been living here, I've been trying to do as much as I can to save space in this house. When you live in a small place, I think one of the biggest things you got to try and do is come up with ways to utilize space and to find places to store things. This is all I have for kitchen cabinets. I've got one tall cabinet and this. The two drawers to the left are drawers for silverware and everything else. The cabinet underneath that is for your pots and pans and stuff. And then you've got under the sink. And that's it. So I've got this little cabinet here that I'm using as a makeshift pantry and water station. And, you know, you just come up with creative ways to deal with things. After I got a better vacuum cleaner and a steam mop, I found this rack. It's for skis on Amazon Vine. And I ordered it, decided to use it as a hanger for my cleaning supplies and all of that stuff. So it's right inside the door. You know, it's not the most ideal place to keep it, but it's a good spot for it. It works good. It gave me a place to get all that stuff put away, which opened up more space inside the place. I've got room for 2 bicycles on this rack. I mean, that you saw this a few weeks after I moved in here. I found a place to put the bicycles and keep them nice and tidy and keep them out of my way. And I like the way that it keeps everything off to the side. It's a very narrow profile when you walk in this room. Everything that you see in this room just kind of fits in one row. And it keeps the middle of the room nice and open. And then the new addition here is the makeshift bike shop with the work stand, pegboard for the tools, drawers and tool bags, and to keep all that stuff organized. I've got my folding bicycle work stand there. And this black rug here that you see under the workbench, I can pull that out. It goes all the way to the wall, and it gives me a mat. It gives me something to put under the bike to catch drips, oil leaks, and things like that as I'm working on the bicycles. And I just did that within the last week, put this thing together, and it's already come in handy beyond my wildest imagination as I'm working on house projects, putting things together, just having all my tools organized and not having to dig through tool bags and having to dig through things to find what I'm looking for. I can just open up my drawer, everything is organized. You know, I know what is where in terms of tools. I'm always going to keep those drawers and the pegboard organized. That's how we did it at the bike shops I've worked at in my life, knowing instantly that a tool's missing because there's a missing slot on the pegboard. It makes it very easy to keep everything together. Yesterday I was doing a project that I should have only needed a little wrench and a screwdriver, and I ended up having to tear apart everything. I needed everything from a drill to the level to multiple screwdriver bits and tools and a ratcheting screwdriver, and I had to go out to the car to that Craftsman set that you saw and pull in a ratchet and some sockets, and it turned into this big complicated project that was way more involved than I wanted it to be. But having all that stuff exactly where I want it and exactly where it's supposed to be made it very easy. And once again, you've seen that I had wire shelving units because I don't have closets in here. So I have 3 wire shelving units that I keep. One for my clothing and stuff like that. Another one for adventure gear and various random things like that. And one for my photography and computer gear and stuff like that. Alright, as you can see, I got myself a new bed. I got 18 inches of space under the bed for storage. That's why it's so high up off the ground. And you can see I got myself some new curtains. And I got curtains with a industrial pipe style curtain rod with the big rings, so that when I want to open up the windows to let some light in, that's all I got to do. It's very easy, it's very convenient, works really well. But you can see that I've got some space to work with here, and it doesn't take up a ton of room. And the one piece of furniture I do want to get is a love seat and ottoman to fit in the space between the bed here and the shelf over here. I've got about, I think it was 80 inches to work with, or I think it's 80 inches to work with. I can basically get a 2-seat love seat and then figure out what I'm going to do for a nightstand and all that stuff after the fact. That is just a folding camp table. So I'm still dealing with a little bit of camp furniture, camping chair, little outdoor table, my folding camp thing there. I mean, even in my office area, this table here with the cloth drawers, that's a camp kitchen set. So I'm still utilizing a little bit of my camping gear. But as things come into play, after this, I figure this is like phase 2 of the 3 phases that I wanted to go through for putting my new place together. This is basically the end of phase 2. The next phase will be getting the love seat, ottoman, and maybe some other bits of furniture, and just kind of perfecting everything and taking these bare walls and hanging up some art and just making it look like a comfortable, well thought out home. Another thing that I did, you'll notice that the ghetto wiring system here that went, that I had all these different power supplies, or what do you call them, the transformers and whatnot going all the way up and down this shelf and all the wires going everywhere. You can see I've gotten rid of that, and I've tidied all of that up behind the TV here. I have one power supply, and everything is velcroed and guided where it needs to be. So I've got a little bit of a entertainment center here, little movie theater, if you will. Decent sized TV for the room. And I picked up an older Bose sound system with a tiny little sound bar, and I found a mount with a shelf unit that is doing a pretty good job of holding that in place. And it's got a little built-in subwoofer for the bottom, but that's all it is. One speaker there and the subwoofer. Really good sound, and it works really great, and it's really compact, and it all attaches to the wire shelving unit with that bracket right there. And it was very easy to find and kind of put all this together. And so it's really I can swivel the TV out of the way if I need to get into that space. I can tilt it to face the bed if I want to lay in bed and watch TV. It's very convenient. Another thing that I've done, you'll see throughout the place, is I got a whole bunch of milk crates from a guy on Facebook Marketplace. He was selling them for like $2 a piece. And so right now I'm just using them to organize. These are all just different small projects that I've got to fix or finish or work on, or things that need to be organized better than they are. For the time being, I'm using those for that. You go into the bathroom here. I've been doing a better job finding ways to organize this space. At first, the only thing I had was this. You can see I'm kind of taking this bathtub, another little plant here. I'm just using the shelving around the bathtub to keep some things organized. This one little shelf unit next to the sink here I bought for my workbench and that little station, but it didn't really fit over there, and I was going to take it back to the store, and then I realized I can use that in the bathroom because I don't have a medicine cabinet. So one of the things that I found, it's kind of pricey, and I don't know when and if I'm going to do it, but I can get a mirror, a swing-away mirror that is the same size as this window, width and height, but it can be set off to the side over the light switches here and swung over the sink and put over the sink on a swivel when I want to do something like, shave, brush my teeth, or have my face over the sink bowl. And then I can move it out of the way to let the light into the room, but I can also, if I want privacy in here, if I'm going to walk around naked because I'm about to take a bath or whatever, I can just move the mirror to cover up the window to block the view from inside the room. And then when I'm done and I want to let the light back in, just move the mirror back over. In the meantime, I got a mirror from the thrift store. This thing was like $4. It just allows me to, hey, what's up, everybody? I can, at least I got some sort of mirror for now. And you can see I got the poop area well defined over here. I didn't have a toilet paper roll. Now I've got 2 holders up against the wall to keep that nice and tidy. So if one roll goes empty, the next one's right there, just like you would see in a commercial bathroom. And I still got to get a little garbage can for that. And some of the milk crates, they actually come in handy for my dirty clothes. And the way that I sort my clothing for this little washing machine that I've got here, that I put in the bathtub when it's time to wash my clothes, the way I sort out my laundry is by how long it takes to dry. So like jeans and cotton and towels and stuff like that go in one basket, cotton clothing in the next basket, synthetic shirts and synthetic shorts that dry really fast in the third, and I just wash them in the order. The stuff that takes the longest to dry, I dry it first. And I'm still running a clothesline around the room here, and I change that up all the time with how I'm running the clothesline and how I'm actually going about that, how I'm trying different things all the time, and I did move the TV from this rack to the other rack after I got the bed, because I wanted the TV to be centered where the love seat's gonna be, so that and I can't find an arm to support the TV that will hold it exactly in the middle between the two wire racks there. And I wanted enough space between the wire racks that I can stack up some more of those storage totes as I find the need for those. So I've got some other things I'm working on. A lot of it is just, utilizing storage space, and I want to put some more shelving and stuff in the bathroom and just small things. All the big stuff is done. The only big thing I have to carry at this point and move around and figure out will be an ottoman or a coffee table and a 2-seat love seat couch that I want to put in this space. Everything else is pretty much done. And all of the big projects, the big assembly things like putting together the bed and the bed frame, putting the TV system together, and figuring out how to get all that figured out and all tidy and organized. I do have to ghetto an extension cord from that outlet there all the way across this room and up for the TV, because it just didn't work. There are 2 outlets with solid covers on them in this room, and I have an outlet tester now. And I used that to try and find a live wire inside those boxes to see if I could put an actual outlet there, and it was no go. And I sat there flipping wall switches and trying different things and making sure all the breakers are on. And as far as I'm aware, there's no live wires in those boxes anymore, and that's why they put a solid cover over them. But when you take the solid cover off, there are actual outlets in the boxes in the wall. They're just covered up so that you can't use them. And for whatever reason, they're blocked. There's no electricity going through them. There's other goofy things like that around this house. And, it's not my place. And I don't plan on being here forever, so I'm not gonna stress over things like that. But I got this place pretty well tidy over the last couple of weeks after I bought my car. Put a lot of these assembly projects together, hung up that rack there, put this tool area together over here, the bed, the TV system, some of the things, figuring out how to organize and get all the things put away in these milk crates, and the little shelf in the bathroom for the toilet paper, and reorganizing all that stuff. And so I've just been busy with chores and reorganizing my place, and I'm not done, and it's not exactly how I want it to be. And I'm looking at projects right now. I've got this APC unit down here that I need to put under my desk over here. But I have to pull everything out and rewire everything and you want it to take a half hour to an hour, but every time you do something like that, forget it. It takes that's going to be 3 hours of my life. And so I just don't feel like doing it today or tomorrow. Probably not until next week at this point. And I've got a lot of other stuff. This desk is full of drawers. Each drawer is full of stuff that needs to be completely sorted out. And so I got the big picture done, but now I've got to go through and do the little things and just kind of dig into the next level deep and start organizing things and getting rid of things and just tidying things up at a different level, at a more finite level, the fine grain, if you will. And so I'm just working through it. But, maybe this will give you ideas on how to make a tiny space comfortable. This is more than twice the size of the tool shed that I was living in before. And so I do have more options available. I mean, I wouldn't be able to fit all this stuff in that space that I was in before. There wouldn't be any possible way to do that. But it is a small space. I've walked up and down the length of my place 3 times while I just, talked to you for the last couple of minutes. But maybe it just gives you ideas on how to utilize the small space that you have to give it the most bang for the buck. My little office area here is not what I want. I want a bigger space than this. I used to have a much bigger desk with multiple screens and multiple computers and a lot more space to spread out and do things, but it is what it is. So make the best of the space that you have. Mount a small monitor to the wall with a second screen above my laptop. I've got a little tripod there for doing a video camera, a little YouTube action there or whatever, and a tiny little portable printer, and just utilizing the small things to maximize the space and make it feel bigger than it is. Keep the space as open as possible, especially this first room. It's wide open. It feels spacious. It's like I'm combining a kitchen, an office, a storage mud room, if you will, and a workshop all in one room. Same thing with the bedroom. I've got a bedroom, a living room with a home theater and closets all shoved into one room together. And then the bathroom is what it is. It's, bathroom. But it does, there's a level of comfort here, and it's cool, and I'm digging it. It's coming along, and a lot of you have been asking me to show you what's up and to show you the progress that's been made. And so I just wanted to take a few minutes and take you on a tour. Anyway, live stream Thursdays from 6 to 8. And for channel members, if you hit the join button on the channel, you can participate and show up for the members only live streams, typically on Sunday afternoons. Sometimes it'll be on another day. And there's a Discord server for members only where we can all hang out and talk to each other on the regular. And there's a lot of other cool things in the works, so keep an eye out for that. And with that, I'm just going to say peace out for now.